What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got some more NBA news to talk about with you guys, this time actually revolving around Ben Simmons and the Cleveland Cavaliers, with it actually currently just being, pretty much confirmed, and it's being reported on now quite a bit that the Cleveland Cavaliers officially do have interest in Ben Simmons. So this is all being reported by Chris Vetter. He actually went on to, pretty much write a little bit of a thing. He says, according to Chris Vetter of Cleveland.com, the Cavs believe they may have an enticing trade package to bring Simmons to Ohio this offseason, but the Cavs believe they have enough to assemble an enticing package, especially with recent, first rounders littering really in their roster, a top 6 pick coming in October, and a future first from the Milwaukee Bucks. Those picks combined with one of the young guys, and some salary filler is a good start. It's also why Cavs have spent the first few years of the post-LeBron era stockpiling assets. In any potential trade discussions, the Cavs would cling tightest to Kevin Porter Jr. Vetter added that the Cleveland rookie guard Darius Garland could fit in a trade package, and the Cavs also hold 4 first-round picks in the next 3 NBA drafts, including 2 in 2021. Simmons was drafted at number 1 overall out of LSU in 2016, obviously from Melbourne, Australia, for those of you who didn't know, and has since averaged 16.4 points a game, 8.3 rebounds, and 8 assists per game through his first 3 seasons. So, as a Cavs fan personally, this is really, really exciting news. I'm a huge fan of Ben Simmons. For those of you who didn't know, I'm actually from Australia myself, and Ben Simmons is, he's huge over here. Basketball is so big now, one of the biggest sports in Australia. Obviously, it's still very much behind AFL, aka Australian Rules Football, or the Australian Football League, but Ben Simmons, he's a great player as well. He's a great playmaker. He's a great defender. He's a great interior, scorer, interior defense, perimeter defense. The only literal thing that he lacks as a player is the 3-point shooting. And if he was to add that to his, array of skills that he already has in the NBA, then, oh my, he could literally be the best player in the NBA. I mean, a lot of people already know that. People have said that if he was to add it, he would be the best player in the NBA. And the fact that he doesn't even have the slightest 3-ball range, and he's already one of the best players in the NBA, is literally just crazy in my opinion. Also, one thing to kind of note about this is, I think, Ben Simmons, there's a lot of people kind of theorizing on why he's not taking threes at the Philadelphia 76ers, but one thing to note, is since that the Cavs have had, John Beilein at the start of the year, and now JB Bickerstaff, and they're obviously going to be going with JB Bickerstaff when it moves forward, it does look like, a lot of the Cavs players have actually been taking a lot more threes. For example, Cedi Osman's become really, a really big part of the, it kind of is floor spacing, you could say, on the Cleveland Cavaliers. He's been shooting a lot of threes this year. He's like 39% from 3, way more than, he was last season. Last season, I believe he had the ball in his hands, maybe even a little bit more than this season, and he's shooting more this season now. Tristan Thompson's obviously been shooting more as a Cavalier now. I believe he made his first couple of threes this year. I don't know if it was his first in his career, but I'm pretty sure he's got around 10 or so this season. And since Andre Drummond has been traded to the Cavs, I believe he's actually doubled his career 3-point attempts only on 8 games with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So the Cavs are looking like they are encouraging a lot more, three balls, and I guess, encouraging it by, look, if it doesn't go in, you're improving it. The Cavs aren't any good now, so, improve it while you can, all that type of stuff. Get some practice in, and that's what the Cavs were kind of going on thinking. And if Ben Simmons can be added to the team, then I definitely could see, with the coaching and kind of the staff that they have at the Cavaliers, who knows, he might actually be taking a lot more threes now just based on that fact. But of course, there are some, negatives about this whole situation, or some positives if you are a Philadelphia 76ers fan, and that is, I don't think there is a way where the Sixers actually do make this trade. I don't think it makes any sense for them to do it. I've said it on the channel multiple times. For those of you who didn't know, I am not a Joel Embiid fan at all. I know a lot of people really don't rate Joel Embiid, but I'd have to say that I'm one of those people that I just really don't, see it. Honestly, there's a lot of stats to kind of prove my way of thinking. Like, when Ben Simmons was leading the team this season without Joel Embiid, they had a really, really nice record. But when they had Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons on the court at the same time, they actually had the record was a lot worse than when it was just Ben Simmons. So, again, I don't think the duo really work together at all. And if I had to pick who's more of an important player, I would definitely be saying Ben Simmons is a lot more important to the team than what Joel Embiid is. Now, that's not saying Ben Simmons is necessarily better than Joel Embiid, because obviously a lot of people consider him to be the best center in the NBA. I'm just saying that, in my opinion, he's way more important to the 76ers and how they play, over Joel Embiid. And again, I just think they need to be holding on to him as tight as they can. And yes, they could be getting a couple good assets from the Cavs. I just don't think it makes a lot of sense to me at all. I honestly believe if they were able to get a really nice, three-point shooting guard, there's a couple on the market right now, Buddy Hield, Zach LaVine, etc. A couple of those players who are really nice with the three ball and the catch and shoot, I think would be perfect for the Philadelphia 76ers. And obviously, if they can get an Al Horford trade, I think that would fix a lot of the issues currently that are right now on the team. But yeah, again, I'm just saying, if I was the Sixers and I had to trade either Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid, I would be definitely looking to trade Joel Embiid over Ben Simmons, but of course that is just my personal opinion. So I definitely think there is, he's got heaps of value, and I just can't see a way where the Cavs will end up getting a deal done. If they do, that will be pretty insane, and honestly, I don't even know what they'd have to give up. Like, it'd have to be a pretty substantial amount, you would possibly think, and it looks like they have got Porter Jr. as an untouchable. I would imagine they've got Colin Sexton as an untouchable too. I'd possibly say those are the two only untouchable players on the roster right now. So if I had to see what a potential trade could actually be looking like, I definitely think the Sixers are going to want to improve their three-point shooting quite a bit. We've obviously seen their way of trying to improve their three-point shooting. They had JJ Redick, and he was really the only consistent three-point shooter in the lineup. Tobias Harris kind of lost his three-point shooting at the end of the season. Joel Embiid's just okay. Jimmy Butler started to get, very inconsistent with it, and Butler hasn't, picked it up this season. I believe he's only like 30-something% from three this season. I'm pretty sure it's not exactly that great, and they ended up losing JJ Redick. So their answer was to go out and get Al Horford, who's a good three-point shooter, but only at center, and play him at the power forward position. And then they got Josh Richardson, who, yes, is a good three-point shooter, but he's definitely a downgrade when it comes to that aspect, under JJ Redick. And then they also, didn't get any really three-point shooters like Kyle Korver or some veterans to come off the bench. Although they did go out and get, I believe, Alec Burks and Glenn Robinson on deadline, I just think they need to be adding more three-point shooters to the team. So that could be a thing they kind of look at if they were to be making a trade with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, a couple of those three-point shooters, what I could potentially see it obviously being is, the Cavaliers, they've got Cedi Osman. He seems to be, he's a pretty good perimeter defender, and he's a pretty good shooter. And obviously, other than that, he's not exactly that, above average at really anything else at all. And I think that's what the Sixers may need. Just get that shooting in. He's in a relatively friendly contract on about $8 million, and he barely needs the ball to be effective. Again, he is 38% from three, which is pretty decent, and he has a lot of room to still improve. Like, the season before, he was only 35%, which is, it's about below average, but now he's really picked it up to 38%, and I believe it was at like 40% at one stage through the season, which is definitely above average. So, again, he would be an interesting player to kind of add. If they manage to get an Al Horford trade here and there, they could look to get Larry Nance Jr. as well, who did improve his three-point shot a lot this season as well and got up to 35%, and I think we'll be really wanting to improve on that. And I think one stage of the season it was about 36 as well. He's, really improved his jump shot. He could be another, and for a center or center/power forward, that's actually, pretty decent that he's actually getting that off. So it's not exactly bad as well, and his contract's not exactly that bad either, on around 10 to 11 million per season. So again, they're going to want to, I'd say Simmons, I think he's on about a $30 million contract, so they have a lot of money to spend. Cedi Osman and, Larry Nance, that's about 18 million or so right there. And then they can bring in Darius Garland, who's on about 5 million, who I think the Cavs would not want to let go, but I think, they probably end up doing it anyway. Obviously, Garland, again, He was inconsistent throughout games on his three-point range, but he is a beautiful shot, 35%. If he gets more open looks in the next season, again, that's most likely going to be improving. 12.3 points per game, 1.9 rebounds per game, and 3.9 assists. And yeah, he is definitely kind of improving as well. He could be another player, and then I think they'll go out and kind of get some picks. I think they'll be asking for that top 5 pick from the Cavaliers. I don't honestly think the Cavaliers are going to want to give that up. I think they're actually going to look to try and trade many first-round picks that they've been building over. For example, the top 10 pick, I do believe they have, the top 10 protected pick, rather, they do have from the Milwaukee Bucks. I believe they'll be looking to, trade that. They have a lot of second-round picks, a lot. I'm pretty sure they've got one of the most in the team, so they could definitely throw in some there, and they've got some future first-round picks that I think the Cavaliers would definitely be looking to spend as well. And then I think that could potentially get the deal done. Let's just say maybe 2 to 3 first-round picks. I'd probably say it would be Darius Garland, Cedi Osman, and potentially Larry Nance. I think that would most likely get the deal done. I mean, again, especially considering Ben Simmons has had a couple of injury issues again recently. His value seems to be dropping every, week, considering it looks like the Sixers are really trying to shop him or Joel Embiid around and know the chemistry's not working and know that he's not going to be looking to try and shoot anytime soon. So again, I feel like that's it could have even dropped his value a little bit, and that's why I feel like a lot of teams are starting to shop for Ben Simmons right now. And yeah, if the Cavaliers can get him for a couple first-round picks in the future and not give up that top 5 pick, Kevin Porter Jr. or Colin Sexton, I think that would be a very, very good one. I think they'll definitely be biting the bullet on trading Darius Garland, but I don't think that's the worst. As I just said, if they can keep that top 5, or top 6 pick rather, Colin Sexton and, Kevin Porter Jr. all on the team, well, then that's a successful, trade for the Cleveland Cavaliers. But yeah, the Sixers just definitely got to be careful with this one. I really don't think they should be doing it at all. I think they should be definitely keeping Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid on the same team. But, as a Cavs fan, this is a pretty exciting prospect for me, as I'm a pretty big Ben Simmons fan. And I think he would fit really nicely into the Cavaliers. Now, what would that starting 5 look like? So, let's just say they keep Kevin Love. Then I think we've got a real, nice starting 5 that will be coming up. So what it would most likely look like. So on defense, I think it would be Colin Sexton guarding the point guard position, because obviously I'm just doing it like this. Colin Sexton a point guard on defense. Kevin Porter Jr. at shooting guard. Simmons would guard the power small forward. He would guard the small forward. Kevin Love would guard the power forward, and Drummond would guard the center. And I think that would be a definitely above average defensive team. I'd probably say Drummond's a really nice defender. Ben Simmons was in contention for being a defensive player of the year. Sexton's a nice defender at point guard rather than at shooting guard, and Kevin Porter Jr. is pretty nice as well at shooting guard. The only one that's not a really good defender is Kevin Love. We obviously know about that one. So yeah, I definitely could see, something like that. And then on offense, I think Simmons would bring the ball up. He'd be the main point guard. And then, Colin Sexton would kind of play that off-ball type of shooting guard, similar to what he's played this season. And I've seen a lot of, Kevin Porter Jr. play that off-ball small forward type of role as well. And then, Kevin Love and Drummond would, continue to play the power forward and center that they've been playing, throughout the season. And then, yeah, that'd be a really nice lineup. And off the bench, they definitely need to improve on that. But if they lose Osman and Nance, they could be rocking, Jordan Bell, Matthew Dellavedova, that top 5 pick, whoever it's going to be. They could just, take best available. Tristan Thompson, potentially, if he does re-sign. And Alphonso McKinney and Dante Exum. So it wouldn't be the worst bench either. Could definitely improve on it and go out and maybe sign some players. They've obviously been rumored to go out and get Derrick Jones Jr. So I could definitely see maybe another player like that potentially coming in and signing with the Cavaliers as well. But yeah, that would be a really nice Cavs team. But of course, I said it at the start, I really don't think the Sixers should be looking to make this deal. But yeah, if we do look at the Sixers side and they were to get this deal done, then what it would most likely be, I think, would be Garland at point guard, Richardson at shooting guard, I'd say Osman at small forward, Tobias Harris at power forward, and Embiid at center. And then I think they would continue to bring Al Horford off the bench if they can't make a trade for him. And then you'd have as well Larry Nance Jr. at power forward coming off that bench. Glenn Robinson, Korkmaz, Milton, Scott, Feinbull, Alec Burks, wow, that would be by far the best bench in the competition, you would probably think, and a really nice starting five. That would be a pretty interesting team, and I honestly believe that could also fix their spacing issues. But I think the playmaking might then become a problem, as Garland's still so young. He's not going to be a really great playmaker at the start, just of yet. But, anyone, to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all the latest NBA content and NBA news. Definitely don't forget to comment in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts and opinions on this trade? Do you guys think it'd be a good idea for the Cleveland Cavaliers to, trade for Ben Simmons? Do you guys think the Philadelphia 76ers should be doing it? Again, I definitely would really like to know what your thoughts and opinions are on this. But yeah, so definitely comment that down below. But just subscribe to the channel for all the latest NBA and sports related content. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel and my IRL/vlogging channels. Links for them will all be in the description down below. And yeah, also don't forget to check out my podcast as well if you haven't already. Links for that will all be in the description down below as well. But as I was saying, I wanted to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.